last night?
I wish I did. I heard it was a real rager.
It really was.
Yeah.
Really good.
All rise. The State Court of the City of Rome is now in session. Judge Johnny presiding. All be seated.
Hello. This courtroom will have order so that the case of the government of Rome, Caius Cassius, may be underway. Lawyer from the state of Rome, do you have your opening statements prepared?
Yes, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready to present their opening statements of the case of Caius Cassius, which is the government of Rome.
Good. Defense, do you have your opening statements prepared for the case of the government of Rome?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense is prepared to present their opening statement for the case of the government of Rome versus Caius Cassius.
The clerk may now swear in the jury.
Everyone on the jury, please stand and raise your right hand. Each of you must swear that you will fairly try the case before this court, and that you will return a true verdict according to the evidence and the instructions of the court. Please say I do.
I do.
Good. The case of the government of Rome versus Caius Cassius is now underway. Prosecution, you may now present your opening statements to the jury.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I stand here before you today to tell you a story of a man who manipulated good, honest men in a similar way to those you would wish harm. He not only manipulated, but also murdered good, honest men who in their own right have done nothing wrong. He seized power to the betterment of his own selfish gain through means all honorable men would call unrighteous. He only seeks to satisfy his evil nature, which will never be quenched by evil deeds. This man I speak of is Caius Cassius. Caius Cassius may seem like an honorable senator who works for the good of the people of Rome, like many of his co-workers, but I can assure you that what you may see of his character at first glance is leagues different than what is in his heart. Caius Cassius is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He not only convinced a group of men that many once considered to be the noblest men in the land to commit treason, but also took part in the treason himself. Caius Cassius, throughout his years of government services, took bribes as a government official, and most recently took part in and convinced honorable men like Marcus Brutus to overthrow the emperor through lethal force. Caius Cassius reportedly planned out and murdered Julius Caesar on the 15th of March. He maliciously led Caesar's friend, one Mark Antony, away from Caesar's side so that he could have Caesar alone. Once he had Caesar alone, he and the noble men he convinced reportedly stabbed Caesar 26 times. Caius Cassius did not murder any average plebe who was not worth more than the dirt on my feet. No, he murdered the emperor of Rome, a royal, just, and noble man named Julius Caesar. He claims he murdered Caesar because he was afraid of Caesar's ambition. His ambition, the same ambition that led Rome to conquer Gaul, the same ambition that feeds the mouths of babes in need of sustenance. Caesar may have had ambition, but it was not selfish ambition. It was an ambition to see Rome become the greatest kingdom in the world. Surely there is only one who is guilty of selfish ambition, and that is he himself, Caius Cassius. This will all be proven by my legal witness. I hereby claim Caius Cassius guilty of conspiracy to overthrow the government, conspiracy to murder the emperor of Rome, accepting bribes as a government official, and first-degree murder. That is all for the prosecution's opening statements. Thank you.
Kind people of the jury, I am here today to tell you that despite the claims of the prosecution that Caius Cassius is a noble, kind-hearted man who only wanted to keep Rome out of the hands of those who he thought wanted to use the role as emperor for self-gain. Yes, Caius Cassius was a part of the plot to overthrow and kill Caesar, but I can tell you, beyond a reason for doubt, that he was not the mastermind behind the plan. As described by the prosecution, he was considered a noble man. But I tell you, he is still a noble man. Caius Cassius, throughout his years as a servant of Rome, worked for the Roman Empire's graver interests and not his own. So what would you think he would do any different than killing Caesar? Although he thought it might make Rome a better place, Mr. Cassius was clearly deceived into thinking that killing the great Caesar was in Rome's best interest. He was convinced by those who were described as honorable men into committing an act that few would call honorable. After all, wouldn't you, people of the jury, trust people with whom you've been friends for years to do the honorable thing? Although he did take part in the act of murdering Caesar, he certainly did not commit the act with malicious intent. He simply continued to work for the betterment of Rome and trust his friends whom he had trusted for years. He simply followed what he thought right, without knowing he was being deceived by those he called friends. His dear friend Marcus Brutus was certainly the one who was the mastermind behind this dreadful plan. Marcus Brutus came to Mr. Cassius on multiple occasions, pleading with Mr. Cassius to help him overthrow Caesar because Brutus wanted to be emperor himself. Marcus Brutus claimed that Caesar had too great of ambition, but I claim that Marcus Brutus is the one with too great of ambition. The type of ambition that taints those it comes in contact with. And sadly, that ambition tainted Mr. Cassius' judgment. Mr. Cassius is guilty, but surely not of first-degree murder. He is guilty of being a good friend. I plead that Caius Cassius be let off with an accessory to murder charge, and that all other charges be dropped. That is all for the defense's statements.
The prosecution may now present any evidence or call a witness to the stand if they so choose.
Thank you, Your Honor. We call Marcus Brutus to the stand.
I do solemnly, sincerely, and truly declare and affirm that the evidence I shall bring forth today shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Please provide your first and last name for the record.
Marcus Brutus.
If my information serves me, your relationship with Mr. Caius Cassius is more than just a co-worker, is it not?
Yes, we were more than just co-workers. He is a fellow, well, I guess was a fellow senator of Rome. We have been friends for years and were once like brothers to one another.
Would you say you're the type of friends that trust each other with personal information?
Yes, on multiple occasions we would talk to each other of our worries and plans in life.
Such things as malicious intent towards peers or those you envy?
Yes, occasionally.
Did you or did you not murder Julius Caesar with a number of other Roman senators, including Caius Cassius?
Yes, I did.
Did you think about what the consequences of one such act would be?
Yes, the consequences weighed heavily in my mind before I partook in the act with my fellow conspirators. But I feel that my love for Rome far outweighed the consequences.
Was not Caius Cassius one of those fellow conspirators of whom you speak of?
Yes, he is.
How long was Mr. Cassius part of the plan to assassinate Caesar?
Since the very beginning.
Did you, Mr. Brutus, go to Cassius with the plan to overthrow Caesar, or did he, being Caius Cassius, come to you with the plan to overthrow Caesar?
Although I had thought about overthrowing Caesar before he came to me, it was Cassius who solidified my opinion on Caesar.
So it was Mr. Cassius who convinced you to overthrow Caesar?
Although I wouldn't call it convince, yes, it was Cassius who helped me realize how much danger Rome was in and what we should do about it.
Help me to remember if I'm correct so far. Caius Cassius convinced you to overthrow the great Caesar and then participated in one such detestable act.
Yes, that seems to be correct. Except I wouldn't say he convinced me, but instead validated my pre-existing belief that Caesar needed to die for Rome to live.
If your revolt against Caesar had succeeded, there certainly would have been some benefits to both you and Cassius and your fellow conspirators, would there not?
Yes, there would have been, but I did not think of that. I only thought of saving Rome from the hands of Caesar. I suppose there would have been benefit to have the protection and the wealth that comes with being the emperor of Rome.
Do you think Mr. Cassius would have used or even abused these benefits to the fullest extent if he had the chance?
Yes, I am sure he would have used the benefits. But if he would have abused them, I am not able to tell.
Can you think of any time that Caius Cassius exhibited a quality of selfishness or self-gain?
Yes, I can.
Can you tell us about one such situation?
Yes. One such occurrence happened quite recently. After my fellow countrymen and I had rid the world of Caesar, we retreated to our camp near Sardis to build up an army to fight Mark Antony and his men. While we were at the camp, Cassius came to me in a fit of rage because at the time I had exposed Lucius Pella for taking bribes as a government official.
Why would he, being Caius Cassius, be mad at you for getting rid of those in government who are only there for their selfish gain?
I too thought the same thing. And that is why I accused him of accepting bribes.
And how did Mr. Cassius respond to this accusation?
He responded in self-defense, as any sane man would.
Where did the conversation go after that?
Well, we argued for a bit longer, which primarily was petty insults, until he eventually threatened to kill himself.
What did you, Brutus, do when he threatened such an act?
Well, I did what any honorable man would do. I calmed him down, and eventually we both realized that we needed to be friends if we were ever going to fight a war for Rome together.
So, let me know if I'm correct in saying this. Mr. Cassius came to you in a fit of rage due to your exposing of a corrupt government official, and then you and he traded insults until he, being Caius Cassius, threatened to commit suicide, where then you, being Marcus Brutus, calmed him down to the point of being friends again?
Yes, that would seem to be correct.
I have no further questions at this time.
Does the defense have any questions for the witness?
No, Your Honor.
The witness is excused. The defense may now call a witness to stand if they so choose.
The defense calls Servilius Casca to the stand.
I do solemnly, sincerely, and truly swear that the evidence I am to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Please provide your full name for the record.
Publius Servilius Casca Longus.
Thank you. What is your relationship with Mr. Caius Cassius?
I am a friend and fellow senator of Caius.
Were you a part of the plan to kill Caesar?
Yes, sir, I was.
If my information serves me, you were there from the beginning with Cassius, trying to convince Brutus to kill Caesar. Is this correct?
Yes, I was there from the beginning with Cassius, trying to convince Brutus to take part in the execution of Caesar.
Why did you want to get rid of Caesar?
I wanted to get rid of Caesar for the same reason everyone else did, or everyone else wanted to get rid of Caesar. Because he did not work in Rome's best interest.
When you say the same reason everyone else wanted to get rid of Caesar, does that everyone include Caius Cassius?
Yes, sir, I believe it does.
Just to double check, you believe that Caius Cassius had the same motives as everyone, included Caius Cassius?
Yes, that is correct.
Were you, Casca, the first person to stab Julius Caesar?
Objection! I do not see how this pertains to this case.
Objection overruled. Defense can continue with the questioning. If you become out of line, I will ask you to stop.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Servilius Casca, were you or were you not the first person to stab great Caesar?
Yes.
I was. I want to double check one last time. Tell me if I'm correct or not. Were you or were you not the first person to stab Julius Caesar with a group of senators on the 15th of March?
Yes, I was the first person to murder the scoundrel that once was Caesar.
Thank you. I have no further questions for the witness.
Does the prosecution have any questions for the witness at this time?
No, Your Honor.
The witness is excused. The prosecution may now present their closing statements unless they would like to call any more witnesses to the stand.
We will now present our closing statements. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, All I ask of you is to consider the facts that have been uncovered today and use them to bring justice to a man that deceived his friends and took part in an act of treason. I trust that you will make the right decision in finding Caius Cassius guilty.
The defense may now present their closing statements to the jury, unless if they would like to call any more witnesses to the stand.
We will now present our closing statements. Kind people of the jury, as I've proven to you, through my witness, Caius Cassius is surely not the mastermind behind the plot to murder Caesar. He did murder Caesar, but he is certainly not the mastermind behind the plan. He simply felt Rome would be better without Caesar. He simply listened and trusted his friends and co-workers. I believe that you, the jury, will be able to come to a wise and fair decision and understand that Caius Cassius was doing what he believed to be right. Thank you.
Will the spokesperson of the jury now please stand? Has the jury reached a unanimous decision?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please write down the decision on the piece of paper in front of you and hand it to the clerk.
The jury finds Caius Cassius guilty of conspiracy to overthrow the government, conspiracy to murder the Emperor of Rome, and second-degree murder.
Thank you for your hand and diligent work, men and women of the jury. I hereby sentence Caius Cassius with a life sentence with no option of parole.
Yeah.
9 to 5. It really gets to me and barely keeps me alive. 9 to 5. There must be something else. I just wanna survive. And if you see me, 6 a.m.
Were you, Casca, the first person to stab Julius Caesar?
Thank you. I have no further questions at this time.
Does the defense have any questions for the witness?
Story of a man who manipulated good, honest men in a similar way to those you.
With the questioning, if you come out of line, I will ask you to stop.
Okay, thank you.